Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, having a bit more fun with the build and repair system. So, in the last video, we built this little build and repair system module. So kind of in the survival type of a genre. So the concept here was this little guy has everything you need to survive. So it's got the medical, it has storage, it has power in fact all three forms. It has an assembler, it has refining. Guess that just about covers everything. So it has pretty much everything you need. Plunk this thing down and you're all good to go. It's got an antenna there so you can find it again. In fact, has, because I use them all the time, can we see it? No, I don't think we can. Yeah, it's behind the little module there. Maybe, nope, can't see it. So this has a, show it to you in this thing, a cargo teleporter. And what does a cargo teleporter do? Well, a cargo teleporter lets me transmit cargo from remote locations to this thing. So this is a receiver side. And then it will dump that into a container, in fact, called the elsewhere receiver, right here. So this is by Paycast. You'll find him, her, on the Steam Workshop. No longer supporting the product, although kind of are supporting the project. So there was a broken, it was broke not too long ago and looks to be fixed. Now, I have not tested recently since the break and the subsequent fix. I was underway, so don't know if that's been fixed. So would be nice if it was fixed, but I don't know if it has been. What this guy was a module, I called it, that was just everything, so you would have everything you needed to survive in my particular little world. Now, obviously, this is not vanilla, so we have Paycasts required here. We also have the build and repair system module, mod. So we need at least those two mods, and in fact, as you can see, we have Kenti, which means we have the Kenti mod requirement. So we have at least 3 mods that have to be in here for this particular module to work. So this is not vanilla by any means. One of the problems I discovered, I started building something and this guy started unbuilding it. So we're having issues because this guy has effectively stopped. Oh no, I guess it hasn't. It's just doing it very, very slowly. So this is get my grind color here. So this is kind of my junkyard. So what is this video about? Because we've already covered pretty much the junkyard thing. We've covered some other stuff. So I started on a little different version of this that included a little bit of a living quarters. So it's kind of taking the same concept, which is to say we want all of the same features that this guy has, and puts them in a little more aesthetically pleasing thing. So this is what I came up with so far, and I figured I would finish the build with you guys watching. So we have our antenna here. Of course, we have batteries. Underneath those batteries, which we cannot see, are 3 containers on this back side here. Let's go over here. Why did I paint this red? Well, as I've discussed in a couple of the other builds, red means pull-in. So this thing is attached onto, in fact, it is a cargo teleporter, but because the cargo teleporters also function as sorters, as well as sorters. So I've got this thing to pull in everything, and it is drain all settings. So it will also, okay, punching the wrong buttons there, sorry about that. So let's go ahead and go here, and we'll show you how we have this configured. So this is configured to receive from the F a container called cargo transmit, which is going to be on the other side of the world. I've got this set as drain all, so as a sorter, this is going to function as a drain all or a pull in. Blacklist, none. So if we think about things in inverses and Boolean logic there, we can either have a blacklist or a whitelist, and I talked about all of this in the more large-scale sorting and refining system video a while back. So blacklist meaning not to come through, so not to come through nothing. If you think about a double negative there, so no nothing means all, right? No nothing means all. Double negative. So what have we not done here? In this case, we want to make this a me, which is really just so it's not a nobody. Build and repair system. There are actually 17 of these. As you can see, our highest number there is 17. How did I know that? Well, I've got one group of 9 and one group of 9 minus 1. So 9 plus 9 is 18 minus 1 is 17. So we're going to call these, as we did in the last one, build and repair system systems. So fun stuff. And I'm going to turn those off on the toolbar because I really don't need them on the toolbar, and I'm going to turn them off in there as well. Okay, so what do we need to do here? I want to help others. I want this to be fly mode. I want this to grind first. This is a 113, confirm, 100, 100. We are also going to use the grind color, which is 313, confirm, 100, 100. We absolutely want to grind enemy blocks. We're going to do those not owned blocks as well. And we're going to turn these guys on. So this will either end hideously or actually start to work. Cryo chamber number 2. Upgrade cubes. This particular one also is going to need the EZO's upgrade cube. This is the upgrade cube that also works with shields. So upgrade modules. Upgrade. How about upgrade? Off and off. We have a bunch of containers. We also have a bunch of batteries. 1, 2, 3, 4 batteries. Off and off. Cryo chamber and medical. If I can find it, there's my small medical bay. Systems. Medical. You know what? I'm going to do these as miscellaneous. I don't need those on the toolbar, and I don't need those on there. Okay, element extractor. So we're going to rename these to KMM, which stands for Kenti Mega Mini. actually number 1, and that's already got a number 2 on it. Okay, number 2. So refining and extracting. In this case, we're going to do systems refining. Turn those off. We want them on the inventory screen, but we don't want them on the toolbar. And off. You know what? I do want those on the toolbar, and the reason for having them on the toolbar, so we'll go ahead and do that, so I can control that mineral extractor independently, because you may or may not want to, obviously with gravel, you may actually want some gravel. Alright, so elsewhere container 1, 2, 3, so this is actually 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the receiver container. Alright. So, hydrogen tanks. There's only one hydrogen tank, there's only one oxygen tank. We have a reactor small 1 and a reactor small 2. We have a gas generator. Alright, so gas generator, oxygen tank, hydrogen tank. We can turn those off on the toolbar, and we do not need the inventory. These guys I want to turn off on the toolbar, but I'm leaving the inventory, and this guy on the toolbar, but leaving the inventory as well. So here's what we're doing. We're creating a utilities group, and that can be on the toolbar as well. Okay. Toolbar, that one can stay on the toolbar. So we're getting a little bit creative here. What I was thinking is I would have utility systems that would all be included on, yeah, so let's do that, and we won't get too extravagant. So we'll just have those systems. So this is basically power. What's our connector? We need our connector on the toolbar. We need inventory. This we need inventory, but no connector. This one needs to be on the toolbar and inventory. So if we have all of these, hydrogen tank, oxygen tank, reactors, and gas generator, we can actually have systems utility and save. We don't want to mess with this one because this is actually a mixed bag. This is a mixed bag as well, but we turn them off. Containers. All of my containers. Containers. Save. We do not need the containers on the toolbar, and we do not need the containers in the terminal. Okay, so verifying, we have set up to me. What is this thing going to be called? Well, it's always a KTC something. BRS How about mini station? We are also translating that out to 50 kilometers. So BRS mini station, I'm going to mirror that information. This is a station. So KTC BRS mini station. KTC, it's doing this again. Alright. Conveyor station can go out of this, come back into this. Info. Oh, this is so frustrating. This is cheating to get around the bugs. Alright. Our work through the bug, frustrating as it is. Keen, fix your fucking shit. My god. How hard is this? So here's a game that's sold like 2.6 million copies. How many people actually play? Well, when you bring it up on Steam, it's between 3,000 and 5,000 people at any given time. 2.6 million copies sold, 5,000 actually playing. Run the numbers and ask yourself, why the hell? That's why. When you have something that does these frustrating things, these absolutely absurd, frustrating things, that you just have to ask yourself, how hard is it to fix this shit? You know, this is clearly a bug. Why is it so difficult to correct? Alright. On to bigger and brighter things. What do we have here? So, as I said, when I zoomed over onto the other side, there was a sorter under there, which really is a cargo teleporter. So we do have the capability of receiving cargo via that cargo teleporter. We have an oxygen tank and a hydrogen tank. We have a gas generator here in the middle, obviously. We have 2 reactors. Why did I do 2 reactors? Because I have a mineral extractor, which is in the center. Underneath the reactors are KMM refineries, so we have refining and extracting capability here. We have obviously 2 oxygen generators, oxygen pressurizers, so basically air vents here. We have an assembler and an assembler with, oh, something's moving. We have an assembler with 4 ESO upgrade modules. So this is not your stock assembler anymore. It actually does do things much faster. We have entry here, entry airlocks out both sides. So we have the outer door, inner door, outer door, inner door. My plan here is that this particular thing will actually have a landing pad, whether that's on one side or the other or both. I haven't decided yet. And we have 3 cryo chambers. Okay, so that way people can do whatever we need to do. So places where people can go. Now, what I decided I was going to do here is put in, this is why I went ahead and started the video. So I'm going to get rid of a couple things that I don't need for anything. So I don't need the collector anymore. That's been remedied. And I don't need, in this case, the cargo teleporter, so we're going to put that there. I'm done with the assembler, the antenna. I didn't actually put a conveyor sorter in because I'm using the cargo teleporter as a sorter. So I don't need that anymore. I've got the cryo chambers in, so I don't need that anymore. Don't need the upgrade cube because I've already placed it. I don't need the medical bay because that's already there. And the build and repair system, of which there are 17, so I don't really need those anymore. What am I doing here? Well, this is just for sake of kind of aesthetics, so I'm putting beds in here. Oh, 9. Sorry, 9. There we go. Alright, so, beds. And I suppose if we really wanted to put extra beds, we could do some down there. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and because everybody likes a little bit tad of privacy, that's what these are for. If I can get them to rotate around the right way. So, there we have 4 beds, still some viewing room, and I guess if we, let's go ahead and do that, because these make actually for some kind of neat couches, so that's kind of what I figured those would be. Put another couple couches down here. Oh, can't put them down there because. But let's put some couches So using the vanilla blocks, obviously if we loaded in like a Keister's decorations or something like that, then we could do a little bit more stuff, but hey. Now the only other thing that we could possibly use somewhere is a console. Now do we really need a console in this kind of thing? Don't know. We can touch on to any one of these connection points and actually get to all the different access. So I don't know that we would really need to do that. Alright, so having babbled at length over all this stuff, do we really need to do anything else here? And I think the answer is no. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put the proverbial roof on this thing. I've already got the right color. So I've selected my heavy armor block because this thing is made out of heavy armor, and we'll go ahead and put the roof onto this guy. As you can see, the roof goes down to here. So what's the problem here? Well, these are of course our build and repair systems back in the back here. One of the things that is an issue is because these are ultimately 4 high. So I've got 2 over 2. Or rather, this is a 2 block tall thing, so 2 blocks stacked on top of 2 blocks, obviously 4 blocks. So what can we do here? We're going to go ahead and use the catwalk plates to protect this. And just because I want this to be aesthetically pleasing, we're going to be consistent all the way down. Because of this here and there. Okay, so we kind of have our end piece here. 0 to deselect, go back to a 1. We have an armor block, and then we're going to change colors and actually complete this outside. We'll take those off. P, we're going to select black. We're going to go to the slope, the way I wanted to rotate. Turn sideways, and 3 of these guys, turn sideways again, 3 sideways 1 more time. Actually can't. Alright, so let me finish these edges and then we'll come back. So there's my corner piece, corner there, and a little bit corner there. Go back to our now, change colors. We are going to do 2 things here. One is to put my heavy armor blocks in. Why did I leave that one blank? And I will explain that in just a moment. So we're going to fill this in. So we have heavy armor all the way around. And then we're going to go to this. So I'm going to put a conveyor junction in there, and then I'm going to do this, and in keeping with my conventions of the past, 4, 3, we are going to use green. Green I was intending. Green. Darn. Back to my tiger colors, and This is actually connector supply. Alright. The air vents do not need to be on the toolbar, and I'm going to go ahead and put those into, well, everything for the air happens to be in those, so we'll go ahead and turn those off. Connector was also in that. We do not need that. Actually, we do need that on the, because it's a connector. We'll leave that on the toolbar. It needs inventory. We'll also put that into the utility and turn it off. Okay. Control A, select me, yes. Sliding doors. Now the doors are going to be a little bit interesting here, and the best way to deal with the doors is to actually go to them. Which is the front and which is the back? Now this is, again, naval convention is if you're facing the front, the port side is to your left. So I'm going to say the antenna indicates forward, whereas this indicates aft. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is the port side. So in this case, this is a sliding door, which is port inner airlock. Which makes this one the port outer. Okay, and because I was mirrored when I was doing this, this is the outer door, which in this case should be starboard outer, and this should be starboard inner. And we're going to check that, just to be sure. So there was port outer and inner. That's out of range. Okay, so this should say starboard outer, if I was correct. Yes, indeed. Okay, so in my simplicity, doors, sliding. Save. Do not need those on the toolbar, and do not need those in the terminal anymore. Boom, done. If I need those, I can access them via a group, which is all we will do. Alright, so one of the things I think we will go ahead and do, doors closed. So we'll close all 4 doors simultaneously. Now, if all goes well, we can barely see through the window because these are double-paned windows. I like doing this because it's heavy armor. So, what's the point of having heavy armor if you can blow right through the glass? Ponder that. So, I do double glass. Okay, so very blocky in design, so very utilitarian in style, and yep. So a little bit of protection on the top, nothing I can do about that unless I want to go to a 6th high. Maybe not. Alright, so let me do the ownership check one more time. Okay. So highlight something, Control A, it still says me, which means we got something. That still says BRS mini station, as pain in the ass as that was to make that work, BRS mini station. So my antenna and my title actually is the same. Okay, so technically I have everything here that I would want or need. I was looking for, that is in, unfortunately, one space too wrong. It would have been nice to have that one more space down here, but the only way to do that would be to affect the BRS system down there. So, oh well. It is what it is. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do here is perhaps a little bit uncouth. So what we're going to do here is turn the BRS system off. We're going to select anything, it doesn't even matter what it is. And we are going to sacrifice this guy. Why are we sacrificing that guy? Well, we're getting rid of it. And I might as well get rid of it by way of taking all the parts. So this guy is effectively replacing this other guy. And that container clearly has a bunch of stuff in it. And I bet if we came over here and peeked into this, we would be able to see it rapidly falling. A little ways to go. 7 million ice. Wow, got a lot of stuff. But only 10 of bulletproof glass. A lot of steel plate, but there we go. Got almost everything out of there. Good way to get rid of stuff. So the build and repair system actually is pretty impressive. It is what it is, which is to say it is not upgradable in any way. But when you start grouping them together, it's actually a very formidable little beastie. Okay, so that one went away. Don't have the landing pads built, but will shortly here, and so we're going to go ahead and do that. So mini station is now into the blueprint inventory. We're going to do a Control X, and then I'm going to repaste this guy in, and I'm going to repaste it over here because I wanted to start dismantling this guy. And because there are 17 of those over there, it actually dismantles them much more quickly. Okay, back to Space Master. Why am I doing that? Because I'm gonna go get this thing. So, stop. I'm gonna teleport, player control, and escape. We're going to tell that to turn off, and then we're going to yank it out of the universe. TP000 to get me back to approximately where I want to be. And paste it back in the world. guns hanging around. Have a grinder. Have grinder. Oh, but no power. Oh my goodness. And to get power, I have to go inside. Only a good little engineer blows my doors. Go way down here. Shift 5. Save our game. Out the same door here. Close. Close. And alright. It's pretty much cleared out all of those things. Doesn't really need my help, but hey. Grind. Whoa. And that went to town. Apparently that has to do with, if I understand correctly, is the way it does the anti-aliasing. It can freak out every once in a while. Alright. So clearly these are out of range. Those are way out of range. Bring them back here. Stuff roaming here. May have to do a little bit of space mastering to just delete things that got away. I do not have automatic cleanup turned on because I tend to not like that. Sometimes it deletes things that you didn't want it to delete. And that's mostly because the filters are shall I say, non-discriminatory. The filters are going to look at exactly the way you've got everything put in and give you what you got. Alright, this one looks to be a little bit far away, so let's go ahead and do that one. These are light armor blocks, which is kind of nice. Goes through them a lot faster. All right. Alright, so that looks to be working fairly well. So we'll go get more. Next. Hey, look at that little dinky guy. So, stop, teleport, flare. I'll go ahead and turn my grinder off here. There's this guy. We're going to do a power off. Then pull it out of the world, teleport back to the center of my universe, and paste this onto this guy. Alright, so a few escaping things here. Go ahead and help us out. Ooh, got rid of that quickly. This is running away. Alright, it's doing very well. So one of the things I tend to like to do, which we may or may not be able to do on this end, I like putting in a cockpit. Why do I put a cockpit in? Let me show you here. Grab a standard cockpit here. Get rid of all that, which means I'll put the standard cockpit down. Let's put it at number 1. Okay, wrong color. Don't want to use that color. Want to use that color, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, short of medical needs, I can come from the outside, do a T, go into this, and what do we see? My oxygen and hydrogen instantly go to 100% and I start charging. Why is that? Well, because when a cockpit is connected into the conveyor system, and the conveyor system has hydrogen and oxygen available, it will refill your bottles automatically. It will, or not bottles, but refill your suit automatically. And because it is a cockpit, all of the game cockpits do recharge your batteries. So, a convenient way, I don't have to go through a door, which is actually 2 clicks. Okay, 3 if I close the door. So 1 click to open the outer door, go in, close the outer door, there's 2 clicks, open the inner door, and then zoom in, get to my medical, and push button again to have it actually do what it does. Or I do 1 click, sit down, wait, 1 click, get out, continue. Okay, so again, I'm a lazy bum, so this is the simplest mechanism for making all this happen. Alright, D. Now, could we do some interesting things here? Yes, absolutely, and let's demonstrate that. So, let's go to a slope, and we are on mirrored, so I'm going to do that and that, and then inverted like that. Why did I do that? Well, as you can see now, I have just increased the visibility, the viewability, all the way around this thing by quite a bit, which I kind of like. I like having visibility. So even though we're looking at this and saying, well, that's a cockpit, what the hell is that for? Now you know. So, strange, but effective. Alright, let's do the Space Master thing real quick. First should line up on this, which it will. Next. Okay, that's there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to remove that too. Remove that. So this is just a little bit of cleanup. Alright. Alright. So things that got away. Alright, so one of the things I wanted to build on here was a landing pad. Now, what we have to decide is, do we have a heavy landing pad or a not so heavy landing pad? And that's really going to be up to you. Your personal preference. Get the sun out of my eyes. Alright, so let's okay, so we have mirroring on. Mirroring is a good thing. Change colors. Now, here's one of the interesting things about the BRS system. So here's what I'm going to do just for fun. I'm going to turn off Space Master. I'm going to grab a bunch of steel plate. Can't do it through that one because that one's a pull-in. So inventory, I'm going to find steel plate. There's steel plate. That's build and repair system. So how much steel? Oh, I actually have a bunch of steel plate. Container. Elsewhere container. Container, build and repair system. Okay, don't know where we necessarily want all those to go, but doesn't really matter. Okay, so I have steel plate in my inventory. Why do I have steel plate in my inventory? Because I want to start building these blocks. So the magic of the build and repair system is that it is going to build these different things for you. So the first thing I want to do here, which I know is going to sound a little bit silly, is I want to get rid of this particular block. Now, okay, so mirroring no longer functions, which is kind of a pain in the butt because alright, so got rid of that. Alright, so black, and I'm going to turn this around. Oh, that's an inverted corner, which I didn't want. Alright, so how big of a landing pad do we need? So there's 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks, 6 blocks, 7 blocks. We're going to do a corner there, and back to a slope. So as you can see, I am pasting, which is to say I'm building that initial block, and then all of a sudden, behind me, without doing any welding at all, these all of a sudden become solid blocks. Why is that? Well, that's the magic of the build and repair system. The build, keyword build, is doing all of this for me as I go. Alright, so once again I'm going to change colors. That's my grind color. So it gets rid of that block for me. Then I'm going to put in this corner. Seven. Alright. So I do a corner there. Alright, so just to verify, so not a huge landing pad by any stretch of the imagination. So like a small fighter or the miner or something like that will come down here. So just to verify, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and technically 8 with slopes out here. So why did I do that? Well, I'm going to have to look and see what this is. So ultimately we need to do that on this side as well. So build and repair system, being what it is, allows you to build and repair very effectively. Alright, and just because I'm looking at this here, I'm going to go ahead and remove Whoops. Thought I was going to remove. Got a little too far away here. Because I want to be able to put a reasonably good sized landing pad on here. Alright, some of the other things that we're ultimately going to have to do here, so we'll go ahead and still continue to use the build and repair system. I need to get rid of this thing, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. And believe it or not, we gotta do the same thing there. Okay, because I like mirroring, mirroring lets me get things symmetrical, and there really was a reason for this madness. So what I'm going to do is go back to my the black. I'm also going to go back into Space Master, and we're going to select slope again. And because mirroring turns back on, we're actually going to figure out, actually I can't do that. How far out do we want to go? Okay, so this is 15. I know it says 30, but it's 15 because it's actually a double block there. Now, I've got the one that's embedded in the station. Okay, so if I wanted to do 15, I'd actually have to go to this. Okay, so 15 wide, right? And it mirrored on the other side, which is a much larger landing pad, obviously twice the size of the other one. Okay, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to be able to land something that's pretty good sized on here. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So again, 32 is my number to make it symmetrical with this size, with the other side. We're going to go corner and paste. And we do a corner here, paste, back to our slope, get it facing the correct direction, and then we connect. Now, if I'm doing things conventionally, which is to say the way I typically do them, we're going to go back to a block. We're going to use my standard Kenti Tiger orange here. Paste in the bottom. And then we're going to do block, 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 block. Why did I put those blocks in there? So we're going to put our windows back on. And the way we're going to do that is go to my 9, which is my windows. So there's my 2x2 windows. That's facing the other way. Turn it around the other way. And we're going to go back in with my double pane windows. Okay. So what did I do there? I just pasted all 4 of them in at once. So that was what the goal was just to get those pasted back in there. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to change colors again. I'm going to put white down because I happen to like the white. Now, one of the things I need to discover, and I believe it is under this door, so we're going to go ahead and, no, we can use that. So 0 to deselect and go 1. I'm going to deconstruct. That's what I was looking for. So what we want to do here, so let me change colors, get onto this particular screen here, which is a 4, and Conveyor Junctions. Now, I could use, in fact I will use a Conveyor Junction there. I could actually use conveyors to do what I want to do here. I want to come out, how far do I want to come out? One more square, I think. Yeah. And here's why. Yeah, okay. So actually I need to kill that there and that there. Okay, what am I doing here? Let's go ahead and use conveyors again. So we'll change this to conveyors. So conveyor, conveyor, and then we will change this into this, and we will put a connector here. Okay, what is this? Does this make any sense at all? Probably not yet, but it will very, very shortly. Okay, we're going to, so this is connector 3. For the sake of, this is the port landing pad, which means this is the starboard landing pad. Okay, simple, simple. Now remember, we do not turn the toolbar configs off because I want to be able to select those particular connectors at any given time. That's been in the utility section. So we're going to go ahead and save and then turn them off in the terminal. Okay, so select Control A. We're going to change this over to a me. That way we don't really truly screw up anything. We're going to put that cockpit, turn it off on the toolbar. It does have an inventory, so we're going to leave that in, and we're going to put that into miscellaneous systems, save, and terminal off. Alright, recheck, it's all me. Alright, so if we look at this from a landing pad perspective, I've just put a vertical connector on there, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So let's work on making this make a little more sense. Make this make sense. How's that? So we'll go to right there. I like a white landing pad. Some people may not like white, but I like white landing pads. There's that. So do we continue on with the black? I think so. So the difference there is we will change that out. And here's what we're gonna do on this. We're going to be like that. just cheating, I know, but that's the nice thing about Space Master. Alright, so we have that coupled in as intended, and the only thing we need to do at this point is to go back to the slope. We're going to spin that, and we're going to create a sloped corner, just to make it look a little nicer. Same thing here. Delete that one. Alright, now, here's the problem. We have unprotected areas. Namely, we have this here. So what I'm going to do, we're going to change colors once again to my tiger orange. And we are going to go over to our plate. And we're going to cover that. Okay, not nearly as substantial, obviously, as the heavy armor. And we're going to do the same thing here. The only difference is we're changing colors. You know, one of the problems is this window is actually on the outside, so it is taking up that particular square. So even though I did 4 of them, or rather 3 wide on the bottom, I'm actually only going to do 2 wide here. And why am I doing this? Just because it looks better. Now, we could do a couple things here, and again, if you notice, I'm up against the red box there, so I cannot paste that particular one there. So if I wanted to paste any of these, I would have to not paste that particular box. Does it really matter either way? Probably not, because this is really for aesthetics value. Makes it look a little nicer, and in this case, just makes this one disappear. So I covered those conveyors coming out. Alright, so now we have a port and starboard landing pad. So I can put, of course, any small craft on there. But let's go ahead and look a little bit more closely. For example, let me go ahead and bring in my little miniature miner that we've seen before. So V, bring that in. I'm going to dump it down here on the deck to get it to align correctly. And then, yeah, right. There we go. So if we take a look at this, we can see how very small. So the miner here obviously is a small craft, small grid, and you can see versus the large grid exactly how small that guy is. So we have a lot of flexibility here as to the size of the craft which could land on this particular thing. So that's just your size comparison. Alright, I have run over my hour, but I have shared this beastie with you as I had intended to do. So now we have a livable area, obviously not vanilla, but a livable, usable area that we could paste on a world. We could use it as a space station. It has build and repair system embedded, so it can do building, it can do repairing. You could build things out here, turned on a projector, and have it do things. You could bring it in like we have done and use it as a junkyard dismantler. It can do a lot of different things. So you've got oxygen, you've got hydrogen, so you can refill your suit. You have power. You have a pull-in system, which is that red side. You've got a supply system, so you can get other ships supplied, that sort of thing. You have refining capability. actually almost an extreme refining capability because of the Mega Minis. You have a single assembler there, which is not necessarily ideal, but it does provide you with the capability of assemblage. Basically, you have everything you need for survival, including that collector there at the top that if you are carrying a bunch of stuff, you can drop it in there and it will help you do things. So, having said that, yep, I think that's it. I've gone a little over where I wanted to go, but that is the reality as it is. So, this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.